Trump's DOJ did an unusual interview with Maxwell and didn't ask obvious questions or, and this is new today, use basic corroboration of exactly this evidence. These revelations show how former Trump criminal defense attorney and now number 2 at DOJ, Mr. Blanche, how they operated. You have this 2011 email. Epstein writes that this redacted victim spent hours at Epstein's house with Trump. Maxwell says, I've been thinking about that. And yet Blanche failed to use or reference basic evidence. Prosecutors pull emails, texts, and a heck of a lot more. So while I can't tell you what's in the DOJ's evidence room because they haven't released it, I can tell you this is exactly the kind of thing they would have, and they failed to use. Take a listen.
Did you ever hear Mr. Epstein or anybody say that President Trump had done anything inappropriate with masseuses or with anybody in your world?
Absolutely never, in any context.
Okay, so Trump's former lawyer, this is where all norms have been breached, all norms. We don't have a Justice Department anymore. We have a Trump Department of let's protect Trump. We have inexperienced and unqualified people as U.S. attorneys. The second in command at the DOJ, as well as the first, are just completely Trump lawyers. They are not our lawyers anymore. So that is how I would take the deposition of a friendly witness who I knew was going to help my case. That is not seeking evidence. That is not seeking truth. And why would he? He's Trump's lawyers. He's not our lawyers. None of them are. Habaz's not our lawyer.
Is that a misuse of the Justice Department?
Yes, it's definitely a misuse. And our taxpayer dollars are paying for it. I mean, we need like a blue state tax strike or something to take back our government. It's going to take something big to stop this train because the people he's put in power. How did Acosta become labor secretary?
Who cut the first sweetheart deal? Yeah.
Yes, and Trump made him labor secretary. So now that certainly raises some questions right now. I mean, it has before, too, and he had to, after New York finally indicted Epstein, Acosta had to resign because it was so clear that he violated the law in a secret agreement that violated the Crime Victims Protection Act. Why? Why did he do that and then become labor secretary to Trump? It's all related. And I sound like the Pizzagate conspiracy people for the Republicans?
Well, they don't cite as many statutes as you do, right, or how victims are supposed to be treated in our federal system, or know the names of all of these individuals who colluded together to help the trafficker.
Yep.
And now the convicted co-conspirator of the trafficker.
Right.
So thank you. That's a good legal fact check that we'd set up because that alone is a lot. Michelle, broadening out, what else is important today?
Well, look, I just think this story is so insane that it's hard not to sound a little bit insane talking about it. Right. But yes, I think that, we don't know what else is out there. What we do know is that the government is providing special favors to a convicted sex trafficker at the same time as we now know that she knows at least the answer to at least, I think, one crucial question. When Epstein said Donald Trump is the dog that didn't bark, what did he mean? And we have basically the whole of government working to make sure that we don't get the answer to that question.
Exactly. It's very scary. And it really draws attention to the fact that we don't have a Justice Department anymore. And that's scary. People are being pardoned left and right, insurrectionists and other people. Important cases are not being attended to. The FBI has been taken off terrorism. I mean, this is a scary time for us as anybody who cares about the law. Not having a Justice Department is a very scary thing when you have an out-of-control president, a Republican Party controlling Congress that won't stand up to him, won't, as the new Congresswoman said today, they've abandoned their role as a part of our government.
Well, and so is there a question here, and it's the closest echo is of the Watergate era, where you did have an attorney general who thought they were invincible. People say, oh, nothing matters. Michelle, nobody's ever going to get in trouble. That's how they felt. That's how they acted. You had an attorney general who was convicted and went to prison, which is quite a mark. Right. Some of these reforms we've seen tried to rebuild DOJ after that. Do you think, and I don't want to get ahead of the facts, a Congress that had subpoena power could investigate this. We need to know more. But do you think there are questions of misconduct here, both for number one and number two at this DOJ.
Absolutely.
I want to bring in Illinois Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, member of the House Oversight Committee. Thank you for being here, Congressman. Knowing what you know, and I don't know how much you or your staff have gone through, how would you characterize the importance of these emails and where they fit into your larger investigation?
I think they're very important, and I think they just raise the question of why is the White House not releasing the rest of the Epstein files. I think now more than ever we need to see the rest of those files. We need to understand exactly who is implicated in them. And today we're going to see Adelita Grijalva sworn in, and she'll be the 218th signature on the discharge petition, which will then compel legislation to come to the floor, which will force the White House to release these files.
So let me ask you about something specifically, because the Democrats released a relatively small number before the Republicans released about 20,000 more. And we just heard Ken Delaney in reading it. Of course, he knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. Is that in some way implicating, or is it exculpatory?
Well, as you know, Donald Trump has repeatedly said he had no knowledge of this child sex trafficking ring. So this particular email would seem to suggest otherwise. In addition, your other emails that you pointed out are deeply disturbing too, especially the one about him spending hours with a victim in Jeffrey Epstein's home. And I think in that same exchange, Ghislaine Maxwell then chimes in expressing similar sentiments as Mr. Epstein. And so all of this just raises the question, what else is in the files? Now, Jeffrey Epstein's estate is going to produce more documents, so we'll learn more from them too. But we need to see the full Epstein files at this point.
So again, as you just pointed out, Ghislaine Maxwell is represented in these files. And again, according to Jeffrey Epstein, he asked Ghislaine to stop, meaning Donald Trump. But yesterday I spoke to an attorney who represents 11 Epstein victims. And I want to play for you what he said about Maxwell.
I don't believe my clients want her to have any more spotlight, any more of a platform. She's a convicted child sex trafficker. What more could she possibly say? I don't believe she deserves even to have a hearing. She doesn't deserve to be the center of attention. She deserves to be behind bars, rotting where child sex traffickers deserve to be.
He's arguing against having her testify before your committee. What would you say to him?
Well, look, I think that she should come before our committee, but only after we get the file so we can actually cross-examine her properly. With regard to the survivors, they deserve access to the files. We need to do justice by them. Many of them don't even have access to the files in which they themselves are the subject because of trauma that has caused them to lose memory of the events surrounding their trafficking. And so for their purposes, for doing justice to them, those files need to be released. But also for the legislative purpose of preventing this from ever happening again, we need to get those files as well.
You went to Harvard Law. Do you believe there are any legal implications here for the president, or is there something specific you're looking for in the Epstein files that you have not seen?
Well, I think that I don't want to speculate as to what else is in the files. However, with regard to these emails, one of the questions that kind of pops up is when Jeffrey Epstein says that he knew about the girls, what does that mean? Did he know about specific acts that were committed involving those girls? Did he lie at any point about his knowledge about those acts to law enforcement or anyone else who might have questioned him? A host of other questions arise as well. But for right now, we need to know more information. We need to know more about what's in those files, whether it implicates Donald Trump or anyone else. But the point is, we don't have enough information right now.
I do want to get your reaction to the statement that came out from the Republicans on your committee. I'm going to quote it here. Why did Democrats cover up the name when the estate didn't redact it in the redacted documents provided to the committee? It's because this victim, Virginia Giuffre, publicly said that she never witnessed wrongdoing by President Trump. Democrats are trying to create a fake narrative to slander President Trump. Shame on them. How do you respond?
Folks, this dirt found on emails that you could see in laptops and whatnot, this is bad news for Trump because it showcases that without a motivation to lie in these, like these are old emails from before Jeff really went down, right? Like there's no motivation to lie in these, at least not an evident one. That makes it clear that Trump knew more than he was talking about and may have been involved more than he was ever admitting. Now that involvement part is still up in the air a little bit. But what this does make clear is Trump knew. Trump knew about the girls. And a lot of the claims made by Trump and his MAGA backers in the last couple months, you know, with the birthday card, is like, oh, Trump would never do that. Trump barely knew this guy. It was overblown. He wasn't actually friends with him. All of that's been proven wrong. All of that's been proven 100% wrong. These actual emails, again, stuff that could be found on laptops, some of this stuff sent back in 2011 before smartphones were as ubiquitous, likely sent from laptop and desktop computers, really does demonstrate that this is a grander conspiracy than people realized. And fundamentally, people knew about Jeff Epstein. That's the thing. Like, look, I'm not for a second suggesting that it was literally only, you know, Ghislaine and Jeff. And like no one, because you know, those are the only two people that have gone down for it, that it was literally only them and maybe a certain member of the British royal family that's effectively been kicked out of the royal family. But then other than that, it's nobody. Right? And of course, even with the member of that royal family, that's alleged very much so. I want to make that clear. There's been no charges against him even. And so are we to think that only these 3 people or 2 people or however many people knew? It's like, no, lots of people knew. Even if they weren't participating, people knew. And these emails make it clear that Trump knew who his friend was. Did he do it alongside him? I don't know yet. But the way they're trying to hide it, I think makes that pretty clear. That there's something wrong here. But Donald knew, and other people knew. And to protect their billionaire buddy, they looked the other way.